Hello, friends. Tonight, Boston brews more than tea. It brews rebellion. It's December 16th, 1773. The air is crisp, the moon is bright, and the British East India Company has no idea that it's about to lose its most precious cargo to a bunch of men in feathered disguises and very, very strong opinions about taxes. Let's rewind a bit. You remember the Townshend Acts? Parliament repealed most of them, but like a stubborn dinner guest, the tea tax stayed. To the British, it seemed like no big deal. They even sweetened the deal with the Tea Act, allowing the East India Company to sell directly to the colonies. Cheaper tea, even with the tax. But cheaper tea wasn't the point. It was the principle that burned hotter than a teapot left too long on the fire. If the British could tax tea today, what's next? Coffee? Freedom? So when the Dartmouth, Eleanor, and Beaver, 3 ships carrying taxed tea, docked in Boston Harbor, the people said, nope, not a drop. Governor Thomas Hutchinson, however, said, too bad, you're paying, no turning back. And Boston said, we don't need to turn back, we just need to go overboard. So that night, over 100 colonists, many dressed as Mohawk warriors, not out of disrespect, but as a symbol of American identity, gathered. They moved in silence. No rum, no violence, just purpose. They boarded the ships. The guards didn't stop them. The crowd cheered them on. They opened the chests, 342 in total, and dumped them one by one into the cold black waters. The harbor turned into a giant teacup. For hours, the rebels worked, quiet, efficient, determined. One man even got caught stuffing tea into his coat. The others made him strip and toss it in himself. This wasn't looting. This was revolution with manners. And in the morning, Boston Harbor smelled delightful. News traveled fast. In Charleston, they stored tea in damp cellars until it rotted. In New York and Philadelphia, tea ships turned away entirely. The colonies had found their flavor, and it tasted like defiance. But across the ocean, Britain choked on its scone. King George III was not amused. Parliament was furious. To them, this wasn't a protest. It was a crime. Property destroyed, order insulted, empire challenged. So they struck back, hard. But that, my friends, is a story for next time. Because the response came wrapped in laws so harsh, so punishing, the colonies didn't call them by their real name, the Coercive Acts. No, they called them the Intolerable Acts. And what happens when something becomes intolerable? People stand up, they gather, they awaken. So next time we'll walk through the storm that followed the tea, the Intolerable Acts, and the Continental Awakening. Because when the harbor turned into a teapot, it wasn't the end of the party. It was just the start of something revolutionary.